What if I told you that the key to a happier work life isn't about finding your dream job, getting a raise, or finally working with people who get you? It's about something much deeper, something that starts and ends with you. Here's the hard truth. You can't control office drama, demanding bosses, or impossible deadlines, but you can control how you respond to them, and that changes everything. Stoicism, a philosophy that's been around for over 2,000 years, isn't just some ancient dusty concept. It's a game-changing mindset that can help you stay calm under pressure, handle setbacks with grace, and even find meaning in the chaos of your daily grind. If you've ever felt drained, stuck, or just plain over it, this video is for you. Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll have practical tools to shift your perspective and reclaim your peace. Tools that could completely transform the way you work and live. Ready? Let's dive in. Number 1. Fireproofing your ego. Let criticism burn without scarring you. You know that sinking feeling when someone criticizes your work and it feels like a personal attack? It's like they've lit a match and aimed it straight at your ego. Here's the thing, you can't control how people respond to you, but you can control how much their words stick. And no, I'm not talking about thick skin. I'm talking about fireproofing your ego. It's not about being invincible. It's about letting the flames pass right through without leaving a single scar. Intrigued? Stay with me. Now, you might be thinking, sure, easier said than done. I get it. We've all been there, replaying someone's offhand comment in our heads until it's practically etched into our souls. Maybe it was a boss pointing out a mistake in a meeting, or a colleague with a helpful suggestion that felt more like a jab. You know the type, the ones who somehow turn your day upside down with just a few words. But what if I told you that their criticism doesn't have to stick? What if you could let it hit you, burn out, and leave you standing completely unscathed? Here's the strategy. Stop owning their words. Think of criticism as a gift, one that you didn't ask for and don't have to keep. When someone says, "This could have been better," instead of spiraling into self-doubt, you pause and think, does this feedback actually help me? If yes, great. You've got something to work with. If no, you toss it. That's it. Toss it like you're throwing away junk mail. And yes, trust me on this. It works because you're choosing what to let in, not letting them decide for you. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I had a boss who loved constructive criticism. I say that with air quotes because, honestly, most of it felt like nitpicking. One day, after I gave a presentation I was proud of, he casually said, "It was good, but you should work on your delivery. It came off a bit stiff." Stiff? I'd spent hours rehearsing. For a second, I felt the flames, embarrassment, frustration, the urge to defend myself. But then I remembered, this is his perspective, not my truth. Instead of taking it personally, I asked myself, is there something useful here? Turns out my delivery could be more natural. I worked on that, but I didn't let his comment define me or ruin my confidence. And that's the magic of fireproofing your ego. It's not about being indifferent, it's about being selective. You reclaim your emotional space by filtering what's valuable and letting the rest burn out harmlessly. Imagine the freedom of not carrying every criticism around like emotional baggage. This isn't about ignoring feedback or being arrogant. It's about protecting your peace, your focus, and your self-worth. So next time someone's words start to sting, remember, you're not here to catch fire. You're here to grow, to learn, and to rise above. Your space, your peace, your dignity, they're all yours to protect. And trust me, once you master this, nothing and no one can scorch your spirit. Number 2, the power of no, sacrificing opportunities for inner peace. Let's start with something bold. Saying no might just be the most liberating skill you'll ever learn. Not flashy, not groundbreaking, just two simple letters. But here's the twist. It's not about rejecting things outright. It's about protecting your peace. And before you roll your eyes, let me ask you this. How often have you said yes to something that drained your energy just because you felt obligated? Too often, right? Trust me, we've all been there. You know the drill. Someone at work asks, "Can you help with this project? It'll only take a few hours." Or a friend says, "Let's meet up Saturday," when all you want is a quiet day at home. You say yes, even though every part of you is screaming no. And what happens? You're left overwhelmed, exhausted, and silently resenting the person who asked. Sound familiar? It's like signing up for your own burnout, all because you couldn't bring yourself to disappoint someone. Now here's the unconventional part. Saying no isn't selfish, it's strategic. When you say no, you're not closing doors. You're keeping space open for what truly matters. Think of it like clearing clutter from your life. Sure, every opportunity might seem shiny and exciting, but not all of them align with your goals or values. Saying yes to everything is like filling your closet with clothes that don't fit. Why keep what doesn't serve you? I'll give you an example. A couple of months ago, a colleague asked me to co-lead a project. It was a decent opportunity, good exposure, a chance to collaborate, but deep down, I knew it wasn't the right time. I already had a full plate, and honestly, I wasn't passionate about the project. Saying no felt risky. I worried about looking unhelpful or burning bridges. But I decided to be honest. I said, "I'd love to help, but I can't give this the attention it deserves right now." Guess what? They appreciated my honesty and found someone better suited. And I avoided overcommitting and stayed focused on what really mattered to me. Here's why this works. Saying no isn't about rejecting people. It's about valuing your time and energy. Think of it this way. Every yes is a no to something else. When you say yes to a meeting you don't need to be in, you're saying no to time spent on your own priorities. When you say yes to every favor, you're saying no to your own well-being. That's not noble, that's draining. Learning to say no is about reclaiming control. It's about reminding yourself that your peace matters just as much as anyone else's expectations. And let's be real, it's not easy. At first, it'll feel uncomfortable. You might even second-guess yourself. But with every no, you're building a boundary that protects your time, energy, and mental health. So the next time you're tempted to say yes, just to keep the peace, pause. Ask yourself, does this align with what I need right now? If the answer is no, give yourself permission to say it. Because this is about more than just turning down opportunities. It's about creating space for what truly matters, your space, your peace, your dignity. And that, my friend, is worth every no you'll ever say. Number 3. Quit complaining, a radical approach to erasing toxic office talk. Let me start with this. Complaining feels good. Admit it. It's like scratching an itch. The frustration comes, you vent about it, and for a moment it feels like you're letting the steam out of a pressure cooker. But here's the kicker. Complaining doesn't solve anything. In fact, it often does the opposite. It traps you in a cycle where the problem seems bigger, the solution seems further, and the people around you, they start to view you as, well, that person. You know the one. But what if I told you there's a way to break this habit, and that it might just transform your work life in ways you never imagined? We've all been in those office conversations. Someone says, "Ugh, can you believe how ridiculous that meeting was?" Or, "Why do they always dump these projects on us at the last minute?" And before you know it, you're chiming in with your own grievances. It feels good because it's bonding, like a mini support group for shared misery. But here's the problem. It's a shortcut to connection that comes with a cost. Instead of solutions, you're building a culture of negativity. And worse, you're carrying all that toxic energy with you long after the conversation ends. Now I know what you're thinking. So what? I'm supposed to bottle it up and pretend everything's fine. That's not it. Complaining isn't the problem. It's the aimless, endless kind that gets you nowhere. What if instead, every time you felt the urge to complain, you turned it into an action plan? A challenge even. I call it the no negativity pivot. Every time you catch yourself about to gripe, pause. Ask yourself, what can I do about this? If there's a solution, go after it. If there isn't, let it go. Either way, you're taking back control instead of letting the problem own you. Let me give you a real example. A while ago, I worked with someone who was a master complainer. Meetings ran too long, deadlines were unreasonable, the coffee was terrible. Every single day was a new grievance. One day, I realized their negativity was rubbing off on me. I'd leave those conversations feeling drained, like I'd just spent an hour inhaling secondhand smoke. So, I made a rule for myself. No contributing to the complaint pile. If they started venting, I'd acknowledge it once. Yeah, that's frustrating. And then pivot. What do you think we could do to make this better? Most of the time, they didn't have an answer, and the complaining fizzled out. Over time, I noticed something wild. Not only was I more productive, but I felt lighter, freer. It was like I'd stopped carrying around emotional baggage that wasn't even mine. Here's the thing. Quitting the habit of complaining doesn't just make you more pleasant to be around. It shifts your entire mindset. Instead of focusing on problems, you start looking for solutions. You feel more in control, more empowered, and yes, even happier. This isn't about pretending life is perfect or silencing legitimate concerns. It's about choosing where to direct your energy. Complaining keeps you stuck. Problem-solving moves you forward. So the next time you feel the urge to join in on office griping, catch yourself. Take a breath. Ask, what's my next step here? And if there's no step, let it go. Because this isn't just about eliminating negativity. It's about reclaiming your time, your focus, and your peace. And trust me, once you make this shift, you won't miss those complaining sessions at all. Number 4, scheduled indifference. Stop caring about what doesn't matter. Here's a wild idea. What if you could schedule indifference? Yes, I mean actively plan not to care. Sounds strange, right? But hear me out. We spend so much of our energy fretting over things that, in the grand scheme of life, really don't matter. A snarky email, a sideways glance in a meeting, even that person cutting you off in traffic. All these little moments pull at your attention and hijack your peace. But what if you could train your mind to simply let them go? Not permanently ignore everything, but intentionally decide what gets your focus and what doesn't. You know those days when a tiny annoyance snowballs into full-blown frustration? We've all been there. Maybe a coworker made a passive-aggressive comment, and instead of brushing it off, you let it play on a loop in your head all day. Or someone interrupted you in a meeting, and now you're dissecting their tone, wondering what they really meant. By the time you get home, you're mentally exhausted, replaying moments that didn't deserve your energy in the first place. Why do we do this? Because we haven't learned how to draw the line between what's worth caring about and what isn't. Here's where the strategy comes in. Scheduled indifference. It's a mental shift where you decide, this, not worth my time. And the magic of scheduling is that it gives you permission to care selectively. Imagine saying to yourself, I'll think about this for 10 minutes, then I'm done. Or even better, this doesn't make the cut today, maybe tomorrow. By compartmentalizing your care, you free your mind to focus on what truly matters, rather than being dragged into every passing irritation. Let me give you a real-life example. A while back, I got caught in a frustrating email chain at work. You know the kind, vague blame, people CC'd unnecessarily, and a subtle undertone of "this is all your fault." I could feel the irritation bubbling up. I started typing out this long, perfectly crafted reply to set the record straight. But then I stopped. I asked myself, does this really matter? Will it change anything if I win this email battle? The answer was no. So I scheduled my indifference. I told myself, if it still bothers me tomorrow, I'll respond. Until then, I'm letting it go. Spoiler. By the next day, I'd forgotten about it entirely. Why does this work? Because our brains are wired to latch onto unresolved emotions, even when they're unimportant. By consciously deciding to delay or dismiss your emotional investment, you take back control. You're no longer a hostage to every little annoyance or slight. Instead, you're choosing what deserves your time and energy. This isn't about being cold or detached. It's about self-preservation. It's about recognizing that your energy is finite and treating it like the valuable resource it is. When you stop pouring it into things that don't matter, you'll find you have so much more to give to the things that do. So, the next time something threatens to derail your peace, pause. Ask yourself, does this really deserve my attention? If it doesn't, schedule your indifference. Maybe it's a tomorrow problem, or maybe it's not a problem at all. Number 5. Micro memento mori. Find death in every deadline. Here's something that might sound a little morbid at first. Every deadline you face is a little reminder of death. Yep, I said it. Deadlines aren't just dates on a calendar. They're tiny, ticking clocks telling you that time is slipping away. Now, before you click away thinking this is some doom and gloom talk, hear me out. This isn't about fear, it's about clarity. Because when you let those ticking moments remind you of what's really at stake, you start working and living with a new sense of purpose. We've all been there. You're staring down a deadline for a project you're not particularly excited about, procrastinating like it's your full-time job. Maybe you're scrolling through your phone, convincing yourself that checking emails or reorganizing your desk is productive. But deep down, you know you're avoiding it. And then the panic sets in. You rush, you scramble, and by the time you hit send or close your laptop, you're drained and asking yourself, why did I wait so long? Why didn't I focus sooner? Here's the twist. Deadlines don't just mark the end of tasks. They're a way of measuring the finite nature of time itself. That's where the idea of micro memento mori comes in. It's inspired by the ancient Stoic practice of reminding yourself that life is temporary. It's not meant to scare you, but to sharpen your focus. When you think of deadlines not as burdens, but as opportunities to align your time with your values, they stop being stress-inducing monsters. Instead, they become tools to help you live and work more intentionally. Let me share a story. A few months ago, I was working on a project with a seemingly distant deadline. I thought, plenty of time, I'll get to it later. And guess what? Later kept moving further away until it was uncomfortably close. One night, as I stared at my to-do list and the countdown clock in my head, I had this strange moment of clarity. I thought, what if this deadline wasn't just about the project? What if it was about how I'm spending this slice of my life? That shift in perspective changed everything. I stopped seeing the task as a chore and started seeing it as a choice, one that represented how I wanted to show up in the world. Why does this matter? Because when you frame deadlines as little reminders of life's impermanence, they stop being about pressure and start being about purpose. You stop asking, how quickly can I get this done? And start asking, how can I make this time count? It's not about perfection. It's about being present, fully engaged, and mindful of the fact that this moment won't come back. The beauty of micro memento mori is that it's not just about work. It spills into everything. your relationships, your hobbies, even your downtime. When you treat each day, each hour, each minute as something valuable, you start making decisions that feel more aligned with who you are and what you care about. That's where peace comes from, not from avoiding deadlines, but from embracing them as reminders to live fully. So, the next time you're faced with a deadline, don't dread it. Use it. Let it nudge you toward clarity and purpose. Ask yourself, if this moment mattered as much as the final moment, how would I spend it? Because in a way, every deadline is a chance to practice living well, one small slice at a time. And when you embrace that, you'll find not just productivity but peace, and maybe even a little joy in the ticking clock. Number 6. Embrace the chaos. Stop trying to control what's not yours. Let me hit you with this. You're not in control, and that's okay. Really, it is. Life, work, relationships, so much of it unfolds beyond our grasp. But here's the kicker. The more you try to control what isn't yours to manage, the more frustrated and drained you become. Sound familiar? Whether it's someone else's bad mood, the unpredictability of traffic, or even that coworker who always takes collaboration as a chance to dominate every meeting, we've all wasted energy trying to bend the chaos into order. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work. You know the moments I'm talking about. You've planned every detail of your day only for someone to throw it all off track. Maybe a client emails at 5 p.m. with just one more thing, or your perfectly timed grocery run is sabotaged by a 15-car pileup at checkout. What happens next? You stew. You think, why does this always happen? Why can't people just cooperate? And before you know it, your good mood's gone, and you're mentally replaying the disaster like a broken record. Here's the thing. Trying to control the uncontrollable is like trying to hold water in your hands. It's exhausting, messy, and futile. What if, instead of fighting the chaos, you leaned into it? That's the unconventional twist I'm asking you to consider. Embrace the chaos. Stop wrestling with what's out of your control and start redirecting your energy toward what is. Now, I know what you're thinking. Embrace the chaos? That sounds like giving up. But it's not. It's about surrendering to what is instead of constantly battling what should be. It's a mindset shift that turns frustration into freedom. When you accept that you can't micromanage the universe, you start noticing something amazing. You're free to focus on what truly matters. Let me tell you about a moment that hit me hard. A few weeks ago, I was prepping for a big presentation, and my Wi-Fi decided to stage a rebellion. Outage just gone. I spiraled, called customer service, frantically tethered my phone, panicked over how this could mess everything up. But then I caught myself. I thought, what am I actually doing here? Yelling at a customer service rep isn't going to summon Wi-Fi from the heavens. What can I control right now? So I closed my laptop, grabbed my notes, and practiced my presentation the old-school way. By the time the internet came back, I felt calmer, more grounded, and dare I say it, ready. This mindset isn't about complacency, it's about clarity. When you let go of trying to fix everything, you open up space to deal with what's actually in your control, your reactions, your choices, your perspective. And there's power in that. Power to stay calm when someone else is losing it, to focus when everything around you feels chaotic, to hold your peace when the world seems intent on shaking it. Embracing chaos isn't about loving it, it's about making peace with its presence. Because let's face it, life will always throw curveballs. Your ability to stay grounded in the storm, to say, this isn't mine to fix and that's okay, is what keeps you steady. This isn't about giving up control, it's about reclaiming the control you do have over yourself, your energy, your priorities. So next time chaos comes knocking, and it will, don't fight it. Don't waste your strength wrestling with the uncontrollable. Step back, take a breath, and ask yourself, what's actually mine to handle here? Because when you let go of what's not yours, you make room for what truly is. Your focus, your calm, your peace. And in that, you'll find strength you didn't know you had. Thank you so much for watching. I truly hope this video gave you some valuable insights into how Stoicism can bring more peace and clarity into your work life. If you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people. And if you're interested in exploring more topics like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming content. If you know someone who's feeling overwhelmed or could use a fresh perspective on their work life, share this video with them. It might just be what they need. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. How do you handle challenges at work? Have you ever tried applying Stoic principles in your daily life? Let's keep the conversation going and build a community where we can all learn from each other. Remember, happiness at work doesn't come from perfect circumstances. It comes from mastering how you respond to the imperfect ones. You have the power to bring calm to the chaos and find meaning in every moment. Until next time, take care and keep striving for that balance in life. See you in the next video.